Hey there, Adrienne Elise here. Welcome to the Gaia Daily for September 26th through 30th, 2022. Wow, we've had some powerful events with that equinox moment, the Sun and Mercury coming together at 0 degrees Libra, a brand new start for our new Renaissance, which is also the energy of building and rebirthing new Earth. We're realizing with all of this Virgo energy right now that for supernova souls, we're coming back to Earth. We're actually arriving for the first time. We're landing home and we are recreating this place as we do this. So, that 0 degrees marker of the equinox and Mercury and the Sun is saying that indeed this is a new start and a new chapter for new timelines, way more in alignment with who we really are as cosmic beings. Had quite a dynamic energy with Mercury and the Sun switching places. Mercury retrograding from Libra back into Virgo, and the Sun uh, moving over that Libra point for the equinox, which means that now the Sun is coming into opposition with Jupiter. And so tomorrow is when we'll feel this exact on the 27th, and very powerful energies of this switcheroo where the Sun was opposite, coming to the end degrees of Virgo, opposite of Neptune in Pisces, trining up with Pluto and Capricorn, switching places with Mercury, Venus right there in the middle. So Venus has been in opposition with Neptune and now catching up to Mercury retrograde. And so this incredible dynamic lining up in the sky. And of course, for yesterday's full moon, new moon in Libra, the sun, the moon, Mercury, Venus, not too far away from each other, in opposition to Pluto and Jupiter, and in trine. Neptune and Jupiter at the end of the zodiac and the beginning of the zodiac, Pisces and Aries, and in trine to Pluto right in the middle. So, as now Mercury and Venus are coming together, and Mercury and Venus will be exact in conjunction tomorrow. Now, that's the same day that the sun is exactly opposite of Jupiter, and also the sun and Mercury, Venus and Mercury will be in a trine with Pluto. So, very powerful day tomorrow because now this is an activation and a cleaning and a healing of our intuitive perception with Mercury and Venus together. Now, Mercury's still doing its retrograde game, right? And it's going to take a while for Mercury to catch back up to Venus again. And it's important to note when that happens, and that's early November. Mercury and Venus will come back together and move over into Scorpio together in conjunction. So, this whole season, and it's interesting because we've got Mars in retrograde shadow, Venus, massive activation here with the feminine mind. There's a whole kind of study of mystical arts and sciences that have been cut out of our world, cut out of the Bible, that are associated with the feminine. And it's like a reawakening of this way of thinking with these Mercury Venus conjunctions. So, Mercury and Venus tomorrow, beautiful coming together, and then in a perfect trine with Pluto in Capricorn. Now, Mercury's retrograde. Mercury doesn't turn direct until the 2nd of October next week. We got one full week left, almost full week left of 6 days of Mercury retrograde. Of course, then we have to wait for Mercury to come out of shadow. And just as Mercury turns direct on the 2nd, um, that's when we go into the hard and heavy Saturn square Uranus, incredible tension where around structures that have not been able to shift, the most stubborn places. This could be our body with Taurus involved, our life on all levels, our whole society. It's just like this feeling of that we know we're ready to birth this new world and this new reality. And right now, we're getting more and more restricted in that old skin and feeling pressure of changes that need to happen that haven't been able to happen yet because we haven't been quite ready. We're trying to do it in the most harmonious way. So it's really interesting because Saturn and Uranus are only 1 degree out of square. So we're in it right now. But that exact time happens, it's like just as Mercury starts to turn around, then Saturn square Uranus, and that it's like takes hold. So it's going to feel very strange because it's almost like it's trying, momentum's trying to come, but we're in this fixed square, coming up against everything that hasn't been able to shift and move. Now, it's also about establishing a new reality and a lot coming through with this square around the role for supernova souls in the Aquarian age. We're getting uh, re-educated. All of us are. Supernova souls, you're fast track. And, that way you're leading the way and on the cutting edge. You are that pioneer figuring it out for the rest of us. Very powerful and lonely place. And this has hugely activated this deep esoteric loneliness of the supernova soul with this opposite, all these oppositions with Jupiter. And Mercury has been in opposition with Jupiter. Now the sun in opposition with Jupiter. Venus will come into this opposition with Jupiter. And so this is the early degrees of Libra. Now, when does Venus come in to that opposition? Actually, um, that's going to happen at the very beginning of October, 3 degrees. And the sun's opposition is at 3 degrees with Jupiter as well. So we're going to hold out here. It's kind of like this being stuck and suspended in time. Mercury going retrograde, but won't and turning direct, but it won't really move. We've got about 2 weeks of a strange time in between time. Jupiter inching his way back into the sign Pisces. So these oppositions are so powerful because we've got this Pisces, Aries cusp, and the Virgo, Libra cusp. And it's all about trying to anchor in some new timelines that are more appropriate to who we really are in our true cosmic self. And that's what we're really feeling right now is the sun opposite Jupiter bringing anxiety around feelings of not fulfilling our role and our mission of being a beacon of unconditional love because and there's grief coming up around where we haven't been able to work in community and groups in the way that we with all the skills and abilities that we have, but we haven't been able to work with these skills through this sort of human evolution because of all the distortions. And so it's this feeling like, let me at it. If I'm going to be here, then I'm going to do my work, whatever that is. I just, we don't know. It's not about something exactly. It's more about being who we are, but it's about being at peace with who we are and feeling supported as who we are and living life fully expressing. This is the Jupiter in Aries. This is why it's retrograde right now. So it's kind of taking this pressure off. But as Jupiter comes back into Aries in December and then next spring, for those supernova souls that have felt restricted by anything in being who you are, it's just this like deep and profound desire to expand beyond the limitations that have kept you playing small, have kept you putting everybody else's needs first. You know, all the supernova souls find themselves surrounded by people who want to design their life and basically make you a pawn in their game. You are the game. So we have a complete recapitulation. And that's really what all this astrology is about. And we're feeling that right now. With the sun in Libra, this idealized love, 3 degrees of Libra opposite of Jupiter, Venus is going to come into right the same placement. And that's going to be October 2nd. Okay, so the day that Mercury turns direct, Venus opposes Jupiter. and Mercury will be coming back into that opposition. And so, what a strange feeling. And then it's not till the end of October until Jupiter moves back into Pisces. And then for October or for November and December, Jupiter's going to be at those end degrees of Pisces, just coming, a little bit closer to Neptune, um, trying to break free of the chains and the laws and the rules and the conditioning and programming that has kept us in trauma and fear programming associated with the Piscean age. And so that expression of, um, wait a minute, we got to go back and we're going to free ourselves completely. Right. So it's like this Jupiter retrograde is about dealing with our Stockholm syndrome, knowing that we're really ready to be free and we can really handle it. So we got to go back into the dungeon for a little while. It's like, oh, and Mars retrograde and Gemini. So we're like going back into the Piscean age to reclaim the magic and the mysticism and the miracles and the healing. That's us. And but also going through a deep and profound reinitiation into our spiritual potential in this Mars retrograde season. Mars, so right when Jupiter goes back into Pisces is when Mars turns retrograde, just a few days apart. Um, Jupiter goes back into Pisces on the 29th of October. And then Mars retrograde starts on the 31st of October. So it's a strange October because we've got some impulse for movement. We've got Mars and Aries, Venus, Jupiter and Aries still trying to, and Mars trying to still move forward, but ready for a retrograde. It's like, oh, yeah, you're getting some real gumption going, but then you're on a treadmill. And this is how we've been feeling, right? I mean, and this is everywhere. Um, I've been noticing a pattern on all levels, and but it has to do with where we're at right now in the game. You come to the end game, and there's all kinds of traps. You think you've won, you think you figured it out, and that's when you're going to encounter the biggest deception and the biggest trickery. Those you thought you could trust as guides turn out to be working for the dark side or whatever, and nobody knows who's on what side and what's really going on. Um, so we're coming to this end game time, and for humanity, every time we've gotten here and gotten stuck again, it's because we are got triggered with trauma and fear programming, and we then believed that we were being saved by a benevolent higher power, and we gave our power over to that so-called benevolent higher power. But the deal is that if beings are showing up in bodies and they're saying they're more advanced than us, then they have an agenda, and their agenda has been to interfere in a way that creates trauma, creates karma, and traps souls. And when we came in to help, and then we got trapped, like, and so at this end game place, we have to be very careful of the traps there, and make sure that at the last moment we don't give our power away again, which means we have to save ourselves. So any of this like, "Oh, we're gonna beam you up into our ships when the whole catastrophe comes," and all this, and it's just like, "No, we're not falling for that crap this time, dear ones." It's like, um, we've gotta figure out and claim back and remember it's that we are in charge. We, the people, we have the power, especially we supernova souls as we come into our remembering. No wonder we've been run from who we, because we are that powerful. And we defrag the whole system. And so this is when we save ourselves and we stand up and we say, yeah, mm, I'm not getting sucked into any of those old stories anymore. And that's our initiation. That's our way out of the trap, and our way that we tip the scales into the new age and the new earth. So a lot of this energy, we've got Mercury and Mars conjunct at the end of, um, so they come together. I mean, excuse me, Mercury and Venus. um, they come together at 26 degrees in that exact trine with Pluto, 26, 27. And so coming to the very end degrees of Virgo and cleaning up the mind, the feminine mind, and awakening new levels of consciousness. In with that 0 degrees Libra activation, it's like inviting our right and left brain to work together yet again for this higher intuitive creative thinking where we can co-create and make sure that we're not getting distracted and trapped and traumatized and through fear choosing agendas. We're trying to get outside of all agenda. And the only beings we want to interact with are those that no longer need a body. They've already gone through this whole thing and they're absolutely in pure alignment with the divine plan. And they haven't been able to communicate with us because we're quarantined and because they don't interfere in this free will universe. So it's time for us to start interfering. And that's exactly what that's our role. We're interfering with the matrix program or interference. We're running interference, Um, and there's some powerful energy to support this. Now, so we've got the big day tomorrow, and we'll be feeling this all week. Sun opposite Jupiter. Who are we in our cosmic self in alignment with that Christ consciousness timeline? In our role of creating this new renaissance and new earth. Who are we and why aren't we doing it? The pressure. And then we've got Venus and Mercury together, this awakening. Maybe we're not doing it because we don't have all our faculties. We've been blocked and programmed in our pineal gland and everything from our higher abilities, and we got to claim it back. And in Pluto, it's saying, well, a lot of that has to do with these authority contracts where we bought into that we couldn't handle our own power. You know, we said, well, you guys better keep it for us. Yeah. And there's like, okay. And you agree never to come into this power. If you come, you're fine. We can't keep you from being incarnate on earth, but you're not going to turn on your light. If you do, we're going to come kill you and remind you. And so that's kind of these crazy, and these could be galactic contracts from way before this Earth evolution, very tricky. But it's all working out in this trine to Pluto because Mercury's retrograde means that for 2.5 weeks, starting just this weekend, starting like Saturday, 2.5 weeks last weekend, 2.5 weeks of Mercury in trine. Right now, Venus with Mercury. It's like in trine to Pluto. Pluto breaking down the structures that are no longer serving. So it's mind control that's keeping us from our full intuitive capacities. Very exciting. And so we've got this big bloom of astrology with Venus and Mercury trine Pluto. They're taking turns, Venus and Mercury, in these opposition with Neptune. Neptune is now at 23 degrees. Mercury will retrograde back to 24 degrees. And Venus just yesterday was in exact opposition to Neptune. These are challenging our stories from the Piscean age in the past. What do we need to complete in this age, in this chapter, before we can move on? And so, but a very grounded, harmonious, because Mercury, Venus, in Virgo and degrees in trine to Pluto and degrees in Capricorn. Then we've got Uranus and the North Node in Taurus. So all of the earth signs represented, giving us a stability, kind of helping us ground out these new timelines and this energy and come back to heart center, which is the gift of the right and the left, masculine, the feminine working together in harmony once again. Exactly what that 0 degrees Libra is about. Because the picture of this ideal society, this new world that we've already experienced, we have this vision and we know is possible, supernova souls. Part of the image of this culture is this beautiful, perfect balance between the masculine and the feminine. This is demonstrated through the activities of the village and the people together. Not that there's some stuff that women do or men do, it's all equal. And there's all the leadership is always represented by a very strong masculine, a very strong feminine working together, mother and father, this divine, beautiful love. And then the whole that puts a mantle over the whole culture of the village, tribe. And it's kind of like a place that you work from, you know, and then it's kind of for supernova souls like, oh my gosh, this all this challenge with the Aries Libra axis. And it's like the ideal balance, perfect balanced relationship. I don't even know if I could conceive of, right? And yet that's what we're working for. And but it's within us first, right? This balance of masculine and healed, masculine, feminine, creative thinking, awakened and alive. So this next few days, very, very powerful, dynamic astrology where Venus and Mercury change places. Mercury and the Sun have just trade places. And then it leads up to this, it's this that kind of sets the tone for this last week of Mercury retrograde. And then on the second, next weekend, Sunday the 2nd, Mercury turns direct. And then we move into this very intense square. We were already in it, but Saturn square Uranus through the 12th. And Mercury comes out of retrograde shadows, moves back into Libra on the 11th of October and completes its retrograde shadow on the 17th of October. So it's a very strange energy because it's that whole zigzag, forward, back, work around it. Just keep moving, but step carefully and consciously is kind of the message here because we got to go like this. You know, we're in the end game and there's lots of adjustments. There's lots of unexpected with so Saturn square Uranus is this incredible tension around the structures in our life that have not been able to change, right? These stubborn structures and stubborn structures of our thinking, our programming, our society, every level. But Uranus there in Taurus is in a sextile relationship with Black Moon Lilith, which changes everything about this square. And Black Moon Lilith will stay in sextile to um, Uranus, I believe, through the first week of, yeah, it's exactly sextile right up till the day that Mercury turns direct on October 2nd. So this whole energy is kind of like, yeah, we got some intense changes. We got to deal with this, all of this stuff, but watch out, pay attention. This tread carefully, go gently, see the effect of everything interconnectedness. This is what this last um, new moon, Libra new moon activation was showing us, last two events, this interconnectedness. And then there can be unexpected creative solutions. It's just kind of zig, we're zigging, we're zagging, we're trying to figure it out. And then in zigs a solution or a new energy or a support or, and so just watch out for this because it's super dynamic. And if it's all about stuck structures that haven't been able to change, but there's synchronistic, you know, uh, coincidences that aren't really coincidences, that kind of thing. This bigger awareness, and more 5D or expanded thinking and solutions coming in beyond what you can conceive of. So that's a really dynamic energy. Now, so that means, so basically it's like, yeah, we've got this Saturn square Uranus, but Black Moon Lilith, they're in harmonious relationship or dynamic relationship with you, with Black Moon Lilith. Black Moon Lilith and Cancer, our deepest, darkest secrets around our connection to earth and mother and home, feeling safe and supported here. The biggest issue for supernova souls in all of humanity. You know, we can't access our power unless we're connected to her. It's electromagnetic. She's our ground. We're free energy, but she's, how we work it. So we got to come back into feeling loved and held and supported. And that's been powerful in the last couple of events too. Timeline resets available to when you are on Earth, feeling safe, and secure and higher frequency vibrations and supported in the work that you are doing here. So we're it's a huge energy of resetting back to Lemuria before the whole drama of the Atlantean time and remembering what it was like to have full permission and full support to come into your full potential and community. And it's just so hard to even conceive of, but we got to flip back to that. And all of this astrology is like, yeah, timeline, flip, we're flipping, we got inside out, we're jumping over to the next age, we're zigging and zagging. um, so it's powerful, powerful times. I'm so glad we're here together. And you can go catch the replays of either of those events. Please consider, keep in mind the intuitive training. This is what has come through as the most important skills for supernova schools, for supernova souls. Supernova soul says, oh, I don't, you know, want to be learn to be more intuitive. I'm already too intuitive. It's like, yeah, no, this class isn't about teaching you to be intuitive. That's already who you are. It's teaching you how to safely and confidently use these skills so you can take it to the next level. And together, we're working. This is a powerful energy, this intuitive training in modern day mystery school, working with all the levels of consciousness according to the chakra system and preparing for the activation of the one true chakra, the light body. And the intuitive training is a prerequisite for the dream team, which is going to be a group coaching and mentoring program where supernova souls can become part of the mentoring themselves as we learn and grow together. It's all about this massive initiation into the leaders that we came to be, but that we haven't been able to step into who we really are, and we're in it together, and it's going to be a beautiful discovery, because that Black Moon Lilith sextile Uranus in Taurus is saying underneath the darkness is those treasures, underneath the shame, underneath the programming, those treasures, the jewels, who we really are. And that's what this is all about. And so that makes the Saturn square Uranus for supernova souls about your role in the Aquarian age. And it's like, "Ooh, get your ducks in a row because here we go." And, yeah, Mars is retrograde, but it's a deep initiation process, and we want to be ready for spring 2023 through spring 2024. That's going to be really a huge leap in consciousness. So, um, I'm so happy to be here with you on the edge together as we navigate these very interesting times. Thank you so much for your support and being with me. I look forward to connecting with you. Keep in touch. Keep in mind that intuitive training, it starts on the 29th. This Thursday, it's 1 hour a week. You don't have to if you can't make the live class, if it doesn't work in your time zone, you can watch it whenever, and the replays are available ongoing so you can continue to work with the material. Great way to connect with supernova souls at the same places you are, right there, learning together and uh, gain that confidence and that ability to hold your psychic space and your autonomy. One of the main focuses of the intuitive training and the advanced intuitive work is really about clearing this fear programming and authority contracts that wherever we've agreed or bought into that we can't handle who we are in our own power, and we've already been fully um, we've already fully embodied and expressed this power in the past. So what are we doing? But luckily we're here together. Figure it out. So thank you so much, Supernova Souls. I look forward to seeing you soon. Have a wonderful week, and I look forward to seeing you on the next update. Until then, I'm Adrienne Elise. Namaste.